Good morning, you guys. How have you guys been? Welcome to Tracy's Wise Sources Tarot. If it's your first time, subscribe. So, this is going to be a live general reading concerning Sean Diddy Combs, his energy. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if the volume is good. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. Like I tell people, take what resonate, leave the rest. Tarot readers for entertainment purposes only. And so I'm going to start off by saying that honestly, the reason why it took me so long to even come here and want to do this reading is because this is a very serious, sensitive subject for many, personal, sad, degrading things that came out throughout this entire Sean Diddy Combs versus Cassie trial. I've heard everything that needed to be said within these past 6 days. And it's kind of crazy. You understand what I'm saying? And I have to be careful with this. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Let me know if the sound is good. I hope you guys can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me, because I didn't plug up my Bluetooth. So let me know if you can hear me. You said your boyfriend loves you. Let me see if I can see the chats. Okay. You said my boyfriend loves me. Yes, you're not pleased. I don't understand what you're saying because I don't understand your language properly. Okay, well, I'm speaking English language, okay? And like I said, this is going to be a general reading. I'm going to be touching on the energy of Sean P. Diddy Combs. My reason for doing this reading is because Sean and myself, we both from the same community in New York City. Sean and myself are the same age, born same year. My family and Sean P. Diddy Combs' family, my parents and P. Diddy's parents was friends in Harlem, New York. Diddy and myself also grew up in Mount Vernon throughout the Bronx in New York. My family, my cousins, along with a few other celebrity names, they all grew up together within the same neighborhoods, communities, went to the same schools. My mom was friends with Diddy's dad. And this whole entire situation concerning Diddy is crazy. My heart goes out to both sides. You know, my heart truly goes out to Cassie, to her family, the things that she had to endure. My heart goes out to Diddy's family, because it didn't have to end up in a situation like it did. Knowing the history of Diddy's biological family, I understand the upbringing very closely because of where Diddy and myself, where we come from, our roots, the lifestyle. What I will say about this whole situation is that yes, he was definitely wrong for the things that he did to Cassie. I think it's completely crazy. We're going to get into these tarot readings because this is a situation that I feel that Cassie really could have freed herself from. I understand she was in fear, running for her life. Hi, eyes. Welcome to the reading. Rising to you as well. Let me know if you guys can hear me. This is a general tarot reading. We're going to be touching on the energy of Sean Diddy Combs versus the whole Cassie trial situation. I'm not even going to, I'm really not going to repeat anything that's been said in and out these courtrooms because I feel for the most part we are all aware of everything that's been said and heard on both sides concerning Diddy and Cassie. My reason for coming in here doing this reading is because my family, Diddy's family, from the same neighborhoods and community, my parents and Diddy parents was friends. Diddy's cousins and my cousins went to school together. And Diddy and I are the same age. I got Diddy by a week and 2 months. And I feel like this whole crazy situation between Diddy and Cassie is wild. And the thing that's amazing about this whole thing, I really think is crazy enough to change, is that Cassie herself is a Virgo. Diddy himself has strong Virgo placements, although Diddy is a Scorpio. Diddy and Cassie's birth chart, damn near almost similar. You know, they both have Capricorn and Mars. Um, they both have Libra places, Capricorn places. They both share the same path, number 4. They both have Scorpio placements. Cassie has Scorpio and Pluto. Diddy's a Scorpio sun. They both have Taurus placements. There are a lot of placements that the two of them share. You know, Raven said, yeah, Diddy has Virgo moon. Yeah, exactly. He has Virgo moon and he also has Virgo Pluto. So Diddy has Virgo on his chart twice. You know, Cassie, she was born August 26, 1986. Diddy was born November 4th, 1969. Like I said, they both share the same path, number 4. They both have that Capricorn Mars in them. They both have very strong placements. You understand what I'm saying? Because Cassie, she's a Taurus moon, you know, Libra Venus. She has Scorpio placements, Sagittarius placements, you know, Aries. So she has fire, you know, she has water, she has earth. They both share lots of strong similarities when it comes to they, you know, they strong houses. When it comes to their Jupiter, Uranus, and Mars. When I sit here and I look at their chart, is Cassie young enough to be Diddy's daughter? Yeah, you know, because Cassie and my daughter, Cassie's only 3 years older than my own daughter, you know. Um, and I know, like I said, things that was done to her is crazy. I don't, you know, me personally, I'm not her. I can't speak for her. You understand what I'm saying? Because I know I don't care how much power you think a person has. You understand what I'm saying? There's no way in the world. And I suffered through DV. Trust me, I have. I've been through a lot of, you know, trials and tribulations and storms. You understand what I'm saying? I've had to escape a lot of ish. And for her to sit there and take it and go through that, I don't really know what to say. You know what I'm saying? Because what he did to her was just really, 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 really traumatizing. And I feel like maybe because he, you know, she became, because he pushed the things that he pushed on her, dealing with substance, when a person is forced to go through the things that they went through and she's still having to take medication to this day to help her deal with the mental, emotional, verbal, or physical abuse that she went through is crazy. Right now, I can tell you that when it comes to what's up, Arlene? Good morning. When it comes to Diddy's energy as of today, sitting in that courtroom, I feel as though for Cassie, this was something that she needed. You understand what I'm saying? Cassie needed to come face to face with him. She needed to look him in his eyes. She needed to let the world know what this man did to her. She needed to look him in his face and let him feel her pain. And my heart goes out to Cassie's husband, because that man standing in that courtroom, I could just imagine, you know what I'm saying? I know what he, his every thought right about now. And it's only the good Lord that is keeping Cassie and her husband. You understand what I'm saying? Because this is a situation where it takes a lot. Cassie's a mother. She has, I think she has 2 kids at home right now. And so she's being strong for the sake of her own kids. You understand what I'm saying? She's with child right now. They say she's a little over 8 months. So she's coming, she's getting closer to her delivery date. And so that takes a lot of strength for her to sit up in that courtroom in her condition, knowing that she's with child and, she can go in labor any day. Do I see Diddy getting life? No. Do I see him getting time? Yes. They say he was being charged for trafficking and for, the P word, the R word, you know what I'm saying? When it comes to the abuse that was done to Cassie, that Diddy did to Cassie, that part he's not going to be charged for, because they said themselves that time has passed on. You understand what I'm saying? Therefore, they cannot charge him with a criminal charge as far as committing the crime. And this is why when it came to them questioning Cassie, Diddy lawyers flipping it on Cassie, they got all the text messages, they got all the, the videos, everything that they needed to come in there and kind of fight this case. And Cassie kind of messed up because, her text messages where she was a willing partner who was over 21, a willing partner where she even suggested out of her own mouth that this was something that she wanted to do. Arlene saying, do you think she will overcome what he did to her? Never, because this is something that she has to sleep on. This is why she's taking medication to this day. If you ever suffered, DV, especially in a situation so graphic is the things that she went through, she's going to carry that for the rest of her life. You understand what I'm saying? But she has a supportive husband who's holding her down, and she has her kids. You understand what I'm saying? And she has her mom, and she has her brother. So she has a strong spiritual supportive network that's truly by her side, that's going to help hold her down. You understand what I'm saying? This is a situation that she will never, ever, ever, ever be able to get over it. But will she heal and overcome? Yeah, she already has. You understand what I'm saying? She's not starving. She's not hungry. She's not thirsty. And she's not going through none of the abuse that she once upon a time went through. Thank God for that. Knock on wood. You know what I'm saying? So she can sleep peacefully and she can breathe peacefully, knowing that she doesn't feel as though she's being held. You understand? But was it a rough ordeal? Yeah. we're gonna get into these cards, and I'm gonna touch on some things. Some energy's gonna come up because, like I said, this is I have to watch everything I say. You understand what I'm saying? Because, like I said, I've been knowing Diddy's family from the time I was a young teenager. You understand what I'm saying? Um, Heavy D, CL Smooth, Pete Rock, they used to all hang out at my cousin's house in Mount Vernon on North 3rd Avenue. You understand what I'm saying? My parents and Diddy's parents used to hang out together in Harlem off of Lennox and First, 110th Street, 114th Street. You understand what I'm saying? Um, Even Frank. I don't know if y'all ever saw that movie, the original OG gangster from Harlem, New York City. And his name is Frank, and he was known as one of the biggest mob deal gangsters. Well, my mother and him were close friends. You understand what I'm saying? Um, Diddy lost his dad in a deleting situation. I lost my uncle in a deleting situation. The lifestyle. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not proud of the lifestyle at all. At all, yo. I'm not, because I come from that background. You understand what I'm saying? Being born and raised in New York City, coming up in that that drug atmosphere where people was slinging, using, people was getting locked up, laying it down, doing a bid. You understand what I'm saying? I come from that background. You understand? So it's crazy because, like I said, um, Diddy's parents and my parents, they were friends. You know what I'm saying? My mom knows Diddy's mom. My dad knew Diddy's dad. Both our dads is dead and gone. May they rest in peace. My uncle was friends with Diddy's dad. You know what I'm saying? My cousins, everybody was friends. You understand what I'm saying? With Diddy and his family. So I know the background. I know it personally. I feel as though, for the most part, this is something that Cassie could have gotten herself out of, but she was afraid. Um, and the thing that's crazy about this situation is that when it comes to Misa, Justin's mom, Justin Combs, Diddy's son, Justin's mom, Misa, I'm surprised she didn't get on the witness stand and testify, because before Cassie, before Kim Porter, Diddy did some of the same things, not just to Cassie, to Kim Porter, but also to Justin's mom, Misa. Okay, not just to her. Did he have laid hands and did some crazy things and made some people do some crazy things whose names I don't even, because I can get in here and say allegedly, because there's a lot of people who should have really stood up and helped Cassie to get away from that situation. There's a whole lot of people who had the power to sit Diddy on his ass, and they didn't. Diddy chose this path. When Diddy lost his father, Diddy felt like he was the man of the family, and it was his job, his responsibility to get his family out the hood. Diddy wanted to take on this whole role of, I'm the king of New York. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's bigger than him. You feel me? Money, greed, power, and success. With some other things, it went from one thing to the next. I know this all personal. I know this for myself, because once upon a time, when I was young, in my 20s and early 30s, I was in that game, music artists, and we all had that same dream, that same chase, that we gonna get, we gonna make this money, and we gonna get out of the hood. And there was a lot of doors that I walked in that I was able to walk out of, but it came, it came at a price. Things that I've experienced and seen and done and had to get myself up out of. I'm blessed to be away from that. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody don't make it out of the hood. I made it out of the hood. Yeah, Diddy chose this path, and he chose it in such a malicious way. That's what the hell shocks me, because when I look at Diddy's, his whole birth chart, Diddy and I have so much shit. Diddy's birth chart and my birth chart are damn near one and the motherfucking same, but we're different people. I'm a Virgo, but I'm a Virgo Pisces moon, Pisces North Node. Diddy's in Pisces North Node. Diddy has Kavan Aries, I do too. Diddy has Saturn Taurus, I do too. You feel me? Diddy has Libra, Jupiter, Uranus. I do too. You feel me? Diddy got Scorpio, Neptune. I do too. You understand? So it's crazy, because it's like, yo, and we come from the same family, we come from the same community, we come from the same neighborhood, we the same age. You know what I'm saying? Our families hung out together. So he really didn't even have to go about this the way he chose to go about it, but this is something that he chose to go about. You know what I'm saying? That God don't like ugly, because what goes around comes around. And I remember back when little Kim was locked up, and when little Kim got locked up, Diddy didn't never ever go visit Kim when she was locked up. When Kim got locked up, Diddy didn't send Kim shit. He didn't give Kim shit. You know what I'm saying? Even Kim, when she got out, she talked about that shit. How when she was locked up, Diddy didn't give her shit. Diddy act like she wasn't nothing. You know what I'm saying? Although when she got out, yeah, he held her down. You understand? But still, it's crazy. So when it comes to Diddy's energy right now, as of today, concerning this whole entire situation, the first card that came out on Diddy was mental conflict. Okay? Diddy's going through emotional losses. He's sitting here going through emotional withdrawn. He's dealing with the authority. This shit is coming out. Heartache and loss. Right now, Diddy is dealing and fighting his shadow self. There are a lot of obstacles and challenges in his way. There's been a hell of a disruption that has taken place in his life. There's a whole lot of conflict and defeat. He's feeling very discontent and bored right now. When Diddy looked at himself in this situation, what he was going for was material and spiritual prosperity. Like I said, his whole dream was to get his family up out the hood, and he did. His whole dream was to have that wealth, that fame, that money, that name. Did he that's what he wanted, and that's what he got, and that's what he achieved. But now he's feeling trapped in fear. He's always been surrounded by temptation. His biggest fear right now is that everything that he worked for, you know what I'm saying, that everybody who he loved, you know what I'm saying, moving on, leaving him behind. But at the same time, there's also a lot of deception and envy on his part. There's a lot of deception and envy on his part. There's a whole lot of movement choices and decisions that need to be made. His whole goal was to have a strong, firm foundation. It's crazy because in this whole situation right here, there's a waiting game. In this situation right here, when it comes to justice, he didn't want to give accountability for his actions or responsibility. But now he's being forced to have to, take a stand. Now he's being forced to have to give accountability. And now he's being, uh, you know, he's being forced to have to step up. You know what I'm saying? And admit to his wrongdoing. And it's not that he don't know, and it's not that he's not in denial, because he's not in denial about shit. You know what I'm saying? He's not in denial. He's not, because he knows everything that he's did. You know what I'm saying? He's no stranger to anything that has taken place, he's no stranger to it. You know what I'm saying? It's not like he wasn't already aware of what was going to come out. Did Cassie get paid out a couple of times in this situation? Yeah, she got paid out a couple of times by Diddy because Diddy was paying her to be quiet and not speak about it. But Cassie was forced to come in, be subpoenaed to get on the witness stand because Diddy's looking at, maybe facing a life sentence. I don't think he's gonna get life, you guys. I don't see him getting life. Will he get some time? Yeah, because he's his own worst enemy at this time. You understand what I'm saying? So is he gonna get some time? Yeah, because he doesn't need to he don't need to be released. Not today. Not today. You know what I'm saying? He needs to heal himself because he suffers with mental, emotional, traumatic stress syndrome. Um, he's been traumatized. And it's true what they say that when a person has been traumatized and a person has been hurt, 9 times out of 10, hurt people tend to go out and hurt other people. You understand what I'm saying? And it's like people who go through addictive pattern behaviors, uh, no matter what it is they're addicted to. You know what I'm saying? Substance, drugs, alcohol, gambling, porn, whatever the case may be. A lot of times they socialize with people just like themselves. And if you can't beat them, then they make you join them, right? You have to be careful. Did he prey upon Cassie as a victim? Did he manipulate her? Yeah. Did he take advantage of her? Yes, he did. Um, he's guilty. Guilty, 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 guilty. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. He's guilty. Mentally, mind wise, he's unstable. And it's crazy. Mind wise, he's very unstable when it comes to the way he thinks. And that's what's so damn wild because he got the power to make moves and make things happen. Diddy was somebody who was very powerful, held the key to a lot of things, you know what I'm saying? A lot of success. Things that Diddy had, a lot of people wanted to be a part of it. And that's what's so crazy about this whole thing, because there was people put in places who could have helped Cassie get away from Diddy. I don't know, there was people put in places where she could have gotten the help. She could have gotten away from him. Um, because when it comes to this situation between her and Diddy, did he breadcrumb the hell out of her? Yes, he did. Did he make her feel less than? Yes, he did. And this whole situation, Cassie spent a lot of time suffering in silence. She really did. Um, but she's no fool. You know what I'm saying? Cassie's no fool. I mean, right now, she's definitely listening to her intuition when it comes to dealing with this situation. Cassie is fully aware, you know? Um, is there a emotional loss on both sides? Yes. Are they both suffering in silence? Yeah. Even though Diddy's locked up, mind wise, Cassie's locked up too inside her head. You understand what I'm saying? Because this is being played over and over and over and over. And now everything, all the cards have been laid out on the table. So for the rest of her life, no matter where she go, this is going to follow her. And more than likely, she's going to continue to always have to have some sort of therapy behind this. Diddy, on the other hand, I feel like he's more so worried on the outcome of wanting to make sure that his kids are gonna be taken care of, which I feel like they are. My heart goes out to his mom, although and I'm gonna say allegedly, you can't control a grown man. Once a man get grown, you can't control him. Yes, Diddy's a son, because I've heard people say that they blame Diddy's mom. You can't really blame her, because once a man get grown, a man gonna do what a man want to do. So yes, that's her son, but she doesn't have the power to control her son. You understand what I'm saying? She doesn't have the power to do that. She has no control whatsoever. Once he became a grown man, an adult, I'm saying, over 18, over 21, it was a wrap. She had no power over Diddy. Diddy's been in the game a long time. Before he was Diddy, and Puff Combs or whatever people looked at him. You understand what I'm saying? I remember when Diddy was just first getting started, when Diddy was a backup dancer for Father MC. You know what I'm saying? Before Diddy became a rapper, because really Diddy wasn't no rapper. You know what I'm saying? He was a producer. He knew how to produce beats and tracks. You know what I'm saying? But he was really never a rap artist. You know what I'm saying? He came into the game as a backup dancer. He got started as a backup dancer for Father MC. Some people are young; they may have, a lot of people probably don't have no idea who Father MC is. But if you go back on YouTube and you type in Father MC, and you'll see Diddy in a couple of Father MC's videos where Diddy was a backup dancer. You understand? Back when Heavy D and the Boys and Heavy D had his dances, where Diddy was a backup dancer. You know, um, this is a crazy, crazy, crazy situation. There needs to be balance brought into this situation on both ends. There needs to be balance. Right now, when it comes to Diddy's children, um, Quincy, even though Quincy is not Diddy's biological son, Diddy didn't really never adopt Quincy as his, but he raised Quincy as his. You know, Al B. Sure is Quincy's biological father, who happens to still be here. Um, Al B. Sure and Kim Porter had actually gotten married. You understand what I'm saying? Um, Quincy being the oldest child, Kim Porter's oldest child, he's taking on the big brother father role when it comes to um looking out for his siblings, his twin sisters, his brother. Quincy's taking on a role as being overprotective now, having to do everything he can in his power. Shout out to my moderators in the building. If you know what I'm saying, because I see a lot of comments is being held. You understand what I'm saying? I know that's right. Shout out to my moderators in the building, because Arlene is definitely one of my moderators in the building. Exactly. You don't destroy people like that at all. You definitely don't destroy people like that, none whatsoever. You know, honestly, what I will say at this point, yeah, yeah, we do. We go way back. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, Diddy and myself are the same age. I got Diddy by 1 week and 2 months. You know, like I said, my parents and Diddy parents, they used to hang out together. You feel me? Um, a lot of people in the music industry, you know what I'm saying, that's from the Bronx, Mount Vernon, Harlem. That's my network right there. You feel me? Because I'm originally from Harlem, New York, raised up in the Bronx, raised up in Mount Vernon, so ran in the same circles. And like I was saying, when it come to Quincy, Quincy is now taking on that role of, he knows he has to do everything in his power to protect his sisters and his younger brother. Um, and I feel that right now at this point, when it comes to Diddy's daughters and when it comes to those brothers, they are going to do everything in their power to make sure that no harm comes to their sisters. You understand what I'm saying? Um, How does his kids feel sitting in the courtroom, listening to everything that took place, the things, sitting in the courtroom and listening to all these things that's being said about their father? Very traumatized and it's painful. You understand what I'm saying? Um, and just sitting in there knowing that these things is happening, it's no secret. I mean, the girls are at the age now where they are fully aware of who their father is. You understand? They wasn't aware of all the dirt and the secrets that was kept from them, but nonetheless, they are fully aware of who Diddy is. Is that going to stop them from loving him as a father because they have them to go, the good memories? Even if he were to get out today, I don't think Quincy would be comfortable with his sisters being left alone with Diddy. Um, it's wild to me because so much can be said about this situation. Like I said, this is going to be a case that's going to go on all the way up until I think they said July. That is going to be a lot of people who they are trying to get up on the witness stand. I happen to know for a fact that there are people whose names I can't even mention in this situation. Um, People who consider themselves best friends with Kim Porter, people who consider themselves as the godmother of Kim Porter's children, people who was a part of the bad boy family, hanging out, I can always say that Diddy became a plug to certain people. And what Diddy did, he wasn't the only person that was abusing people verbally, mentally, and emotionally. Um, there are other people in this so-called rap game, hip hop, whoever you want to call it, as millionaires, billionaires, and they did some similarity things to certain people. I know right now that there's somebody who is trying to stay quiet, that there is somebody who is trying to lay low, who don't really want nothing to do with this here case. And this person is hoping that they will not be called into this case because they don't want nothing to do with it. Because there's somebody who is kind of running away from this. And I feel as though there are certain people who's going to protect certain individuals because of their brand, because of their name, because of who they are. Um, because there's a lot of people whose names, and I will not be surprised if these names don't happen to come up in this court case. You understand? Because I have a feeling that because like I said, Cassie was Diddy's only victim. You know what I'm saying? We all know about Gina because Gina sat up on Tasha K and she committed and told her story. We all know about Justin's mom, right? How Diddy assaulted her and made her run underneath a car. Justin's mom, how Diddy was, same thing. You understand? Um, we all know how Diddy was putting his hands on Kim Porter, his kids, his children's mother. That's no secret. We all know how Diddy had a certain someone pregnant and forced her to have an abortion, and she was never able to have kids. You know what I'm saying? Or either she chose not to have kids and she was beating up on herself because when she was forced to abort this child, that became a problem for her and she had to seek some sort of mental evaluation where she had to go away and get help for her own substance abuse problem that she suffered, you know. um It's a lot of names. You understand what I'm saying? It's a lot of names. It's a lot of people, and I can't. And I'm not gonna put the people's names out there. You understand what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, there's a lot of names. There's a lot of names attached to this. You understand? There's a lot of damn names attached to this. And Diddy, from my understanding, I think they said Diddy had almost 300 cameras all throughout each one of his homes. I want to say in LA, in Miami, New York. They said, Diddy had cameras all throughout his homes. And Diddy got live recordings on everybody who ever attended his parties, right? After parties, the whole nine, the F offs. And Diddy got people on camera doing all kind of things. But the outcome of that whole situation is that people have to understand this is going to be a catch 22 because a lot of these people who are on these tapes that the FBI and all them managed to go on the sting operation when they, tracked his home and all that. These are all individuals who were adults and they chose to do what they wanted to do. So even though they're trying to charge, Diddy with the S trafficking, really the only proof that they really got that he did the most damage to was Cassie. And but she kind of messed up too because they also got proof of her texting saying that this is what she wanted to do and let's do this. Cassie got up and said herself. She volunteered herself, hitting Diddy up. Like, when can we do, when can we have the next, what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm ready, let's do this on, let's get on it. She was willing to do whatever it took to make Diddy happy. And they got that as evidence. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what kind of makes her look bad on her part when it comes to her case is that they can't charge him with S trafficking her because she pretty much trafficked herself. They got proof of that. So therefore they can't charge Diddy on that. And because it happened over 10 years ago and she didn't press charges on him and he paid her out even before this court case. He had already get her off with 20 million and I believe he still gave us some more extra money on top of that. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't see them charging Diddy with a crime that was done to a Cassie, even though it is terrible. I don't see him being charged for that. I don't. Um, Other stuff, I don't know because I feel like really, in order to bring Diddy down, it's gonna have to be a lot of other people that's gonna end up having to go down with him. You understand what I'm saying? And so I feel like throughout this entire court case, it may be some names that's gonna come up in this. But in order to really take Diddy down, they're gonna have to bring a lot of other people down with him because Diddy did not work alone. Y'all gotta understand that he did not work alone. There's a lot of people who was working with him side by side. So in order to take Diddy down, they gonna have to open up the can of worms and they gonna have to bring some other people. You understand what I'm saying? It's gonna have to be some snitching. He didn't work alone. He might be a powerful human being, but he didn't work alone. So in order to really bring him down like that, it's gonna be some other names that's gonna have to come out. It's gonna have to be some other names that's gonna have to come out. You know, it, I don't see him getting life. I know a lot of people saying, well, he should be sitting up underneath the jail cell because of all the dirt he did. You know what I'm saying? And he's gonna be put away for the rest of his life. I don't see him getting life, y'all. I don't see him. Yeah, a little time. Yeah, a little time. But I don't see him getting life. I don't see him getting life. I don't see them throwing a book at him like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't because of the simple fact that a lot of these people that was involved in these so-called freak off were adults and they volunteered themselves to get paid. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people pulled up to the table like, okay, if I involve myself in this situation, how much money you gonna pay me? So a lot of people who was involved in these freak offs, they got paid. Diddy paid them. You know what I'm saying? They got paid. So therefore they pimped themselves to the table, to the room. They didn't have to show up to the party, but they did. So therefore he's not going to be charged with that. They can't charge a grown man for him having his own crib No matter how many damn bottles of baby oil he had in the suitcase. You know what I'm saying? They can't charge this man for being a billionaire and making money because he was a famous world record producer, album release, record label. He had his own Do Re Mi. So you really can't charge him for that. You understand what I'm saying? And as far as like, the substance or whatever, maybe, right? Maybe because they got gun charges on him, you know, that might be, they may have enough evidence because of the fact that he had, certain guns in the house, substance, they could probably maybe get him for that, the amount of substance, maybe, weapons. But if he was licensed to carry and he had a license and a gun permit where he was allowed to carry a gun, then that ain't really gonna be a solid 100% stick 'em. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, they trying to get a lot of charges on him. Like I said, is he's looking at some time? Yeah, but it ain't gonna be no life sentence, y'all. It's not. It's not. Because like I said, it's too many people who Diddy is connected to. And I guarantee you, as they go through this court case, it's going to be a lot of names that's going to come out. There's going to be a lot of names, okay? Because we know that Aubrey and Dawn, a part of that whole little making the band shit, they bringing people on the witness stand on that. But again, my thing is, and I don't give a damn how scared people claim to be because they're talking about the reason why they didn't want to help Cassie is because they feared that they would pop up missing and they didn't want nothing to happen to them because they felt like Diddy had people in places and there was a lot of cops who worked for Diddy. Again, that's why I said he's not going to get a lot of time, y'all. He's not because he had, like I said, there was a lot of dirty cops. A lot of people was working with Diddy. So in order to really shut him down, they're gonna have to shut down a whole lot of people because it's a whole lot of rats eating from the same plate. So I don't see him getting a lot of time. You understand what I'm saying? It's all about this here material harvest. I feel as though Cassie is definitely receiving her recognition and reward for this. I feel like the tables is being turned. I do feel like the universe is definitely helping Cassie in this situation. Again, I do feel like Cassie is very intuitive at this part of time of her life. She's listening to her intuition. You know what I'm saying? I feel like she's fully aware. I feel like judges may try to subpoena Young Miami on the witness stand, but they're not gonna get much from her because again, she volunteered herself, allegedly, okay? Young Miami was making her money. You feel me? So they really ain't gonna get much from that. Gina could be a good star witness, but again, time has passed. Just like time passed on with the shit he did to Cassie. To Gina, Kim is not here. Misa says she's only showing up for the support of her son Justin. She's not trying to get on the witness stand and go against Diddy. So it's a high profile show and tell situation. It's gonna be a lot of things, some closures. As the world card is here, so a lot of shit's coming to a head. Tower card showed up in the situation between Diddy and Cassie. Um, they got so much stuff on both of them. I think right now Cassie is really doing everything she can to seek some sort of solitude. Um, like I said, they both got Taurus placement. She's a Taurus moon. He's a Taurus Saturn. So the Taurus card did show when it comes to the hyphen card. When it comes to paying close attention to the lessons that's being taught, most definitely. When it comes to seeking answers from a higher source, yes. Is Cassie sitting up here telling her truth? Yes. But is it coming at a price where she's having to sacrifice? Yes. I do feel as though Diddy's gonna end up having to put up one of his houses, at least one or two of his houses. The choose wisely card didn't show up. You know what I'm saying? It showed up in this situation. I feel like Cassie's gonna be, she's gonna be having to make some decisions in her life, but she do have some new beginnings coming her way. I do feel as though once upon a time Diddy was her everything, her all in all. Right now, when it comes to this whole case, I do feel like 100% the heart chakra is what needs to be healed in this situation. You know, right now I feel like Cassie's throat chakra is going to be worked on because she's taken a lot of abuse. Like I said, we all know that she's with mom. She's had fertility issues where she's lost children, where she suffered miscarriage because of the abuse that was taken, and done to her. She suffered injuries in her spinal cord. It's amazing that she has two kids now and that she's able to even give birth to a third child because she did suffer some sort of damage to her spinal cord. Um I do feel as though her and Diddy actually see eye to eye. I feel as though he tried to use fear tactics with her being in the courtroom, trying to scare her into not saying much, but it didn't work because now she's much older, so she sees through the BS. She's not afraid of Diddy anymore. She was, but she's not afraid of him anymore. She's not afraid of him whatsoever, no more. The things that took place in her past, but she's not afraid of him today. You understand? This is why she's able to look him straight in the face, um, and let him know exactly what's what. But it's hurtful and painful for her to have to deal with it, have to open up. When she looks into when she sees him, all she sees is hurt and pain. She see hurt and pain, how he put her through this, and she's still having to go through this. And not once has he even stood up and said, I'm sorry, forgive me for my craziness. And that's what she wanted. She was hoping that in this court case with her sitting on this witness stand, that they would allow him to speak. All she wanted him to really do was stand up and admit to his wrongdoing and just fucking say sorry, but he didn't. It's like he's sitting there forcing more shit to have to come out because Diddy's sitting there telling his lawyers what to ask. And now all kind of shit is coming out in the opening. I feel as though, Cassie's going to move on. She's going to heal. There's going to be a lot of therapy on her part. She's definitely going to undergo family therapy because she needs help mentally, emotionally, verbally, spiritually, physically. She's been damaged, and so I feel as though her husband, I feel together they are going to undergo some sort of treatment in order to spiritually hit the spiritual union between them two. I do feel as though Cassie's definitely standing her ground. She's not backing down. The power card showed up in his case. Diddy has Aries in his chart. Cassie, she has Aries in her chart. You know. Yeah, Cassie, like I said, she's a Virgo. So spiritual, Cassie's a born Virgo. Her being a Virgo, she has that spiritual strength in her corner. She's going through a spiritual transformation at this time. You understand what I'm saying? I feel as though Cassie's going to be good to go. She. New partnership and aliens is going to be taking place. And Virgo, some of you are going to be going through some new beginnings too. I'm going to definitely come back and do a Virgo reading. You understand what I'm saying? Um, as far as Cassie, I feel like she's going to be able to overcome this situation. As far as Diddy, I feel like yeah, Diddy's gonna get some time. He's gonna lay it down for a while, but is it gonna be life? I don't see him getting life, y'all. I don't see that. I do see him getting some time. They're not gonna let him out. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to just walk away from this come July and and go home. You understand what I'm saying? It's not gonna be one of them things. He's gonna have to lay it down. And this is gonna give him enough time to clear his mind and really think. And what I can also share about the situation concerning Diddy's energy is that, yeah, there was a time where he was in a deep, dark place since he's been locked up. Has he been contemplating wanting to delete himself? Yeah, because that card also showed up where he's been having deleting thoughts, trying to figure out ways how he can end it and cut it short. Right now, like I said, he's fighting and dealing with all kind of demonic energies and spirits, but he is fighting with his shadow self. You know, he's in, he's out, he's up, he's down, because he's going through a healing transformation himself. Because he's not getting high. That's why he's gaining so much weight while he's locked up, because he's not getting high like he used to be. You know what I'm saying? So he's going through this process of being clean since he's been locked up. He's not abusing drugs. You understand? He's not running the street. That's why he got gray hair and everything. You feel me? Um, it's all about recovery. I feel like for both of them, this is going to be a recovery process. She has to heal and recover. Diddy has to heal and recover. Um, is there enough money for his kids to live good? Yeah, they straight. They straight. You know what I'm saying? Diddy's kids is good. You feel me? They good. They gonna be taken care of. Are they hurt and everything? Yeah. But they gonna be good. They gonna be good. His children are gonna bounce back. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, dad's locked up. But his kids are gonna be good. They're gonna bounce back from this. I don't see them being I don't, because them girls, they all good to go. Diddy's sons is grown men now. They know right from wrong. Um, Cassie, financial material changes, harvest is gonna come into her life. Everybody's gonna be good when this is all done and said. You know what I'm saying? Diddy's gonna get a little time, but it's not gonna be life, y'all. He's not. I know people are saying, well, he need to have a book on him and all and this and that and the third. But nah, he's gonna get some time. Just like R. Kelly sitting in there. You know what I'm saying? He gonna get some time, but it ain't gonna be life. He's not gonna get no life sentence. But yeah, he's gonna get a slap on the wrist. He's gonna get some time. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, it's just gonna be different people coming in talking about shit that we already know, because none of this is new. You feel me? A lot of people that's from New York that part of the game, that know people know people. This is nothing new. You know what I'm saying? This is not like a surprise, like a shock to us. You know what I'm saying? It might be a shock to people that don't have a clue. If you're not from New York, if you don't, if you don't know anything about the hustle, the game, and how it gets down. Yeah, but yeah, no, it's gonna be the same song and the same dance. They just bringing people into the courtroom that's just gonna be pretty much sharing on, how evil Diddy was and how mean he was, and his being very aggressive and abusing people and going crazy. We already know that. That's not a secret. Everybody knows the Biggie situation, the Diddy situation. Like I said, there's names in this. There's names in this, and I can't speak on it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna bring nobody's names into this. But there's some names in this here. It's some names. And I'm not gonna speak on them. I'm not gonna call them out. Now, will these people be eventually called to testify? Maybe. Are they gonna get up on the witness stand to testify against Diddy? I doubt it. because there's a lot of people that don't want their names to come up because it's a lot of people on those F offs. You understand what I'm saying? It's a lot of names that's involved in these freak offs. You know, it's a lot of names. It's a lot of celebrities that is a part of these freak offs. And David Yates said, I remember when he did I Want to Work for Diddy and never hired the winners. You understand what I'm saying? You said he will never apologize, never. Exactly. And I think that's so sad, Gigi, because that's all Cassie really ever wanted from him was for him to stand up and man up and truly, sincerely, be apologetic and apologize for his BS. You know what I'm saying? And he has no guilt and no remorse. And I'm in the shock that he's just so damn crazy. You understand what I'm saying? I'm like, how could a human being, but he was so wanting to be the king of New York, wanting to build that empire, wanting to just take over the universe, wanting everybody to see him, in the light. You know what I'm saying? Knowing damn well it was no light in him. It's a shame of all the things, just things that happened that took place. But yeah, it's a lot of people, you guys, and you have to understand in order to really 100% take Diddy down, they're going to have to bring down a lot of people because it's a lot of people that was involved in those scandalous so-called freak offs. You understand what I'm saying? I know some names that participated in some of those freak offs. You feel me? And I can't mention the names. You know what I'm saying? But just know that allegedly there are some names. You know what I'm saying? I can sit here and spit out at least almost 10 people off the back of my hand that I could tell you straight up that was a part of those freak offs. You feel me? So it's like in order to really bring people in, everybody's gonna be snitching on everybody. You feel me? So it's like if you bring this certain individual in and you start questioning them or trying to get some BS on them, then this person's gonna tell on this person's gonna tell on this person. You know, who knows? Yeah, because I feel like the judge really wanted to hear the situation between Diddy and Cassie. But now that's starting to play itself out. Everybody's getting kind of like drained out emotionally now. Now everybody knows all the secrets about Diddy and Cassie. And so I kind of feel like now, judges kind of want to hear something different. You understand what I'm saying? Like, okay, we know everything about Diddy and Cassie, right? So what else is there? What else y'all want to bring to the table? Because yeah, okay, we fully aware. We know. Okay, anybody else? Who y'all want? Who's coming up on the witness stand next? We don't heard Dawn. We don't heard Ori. Do y'all got Gina coming? What does Gina have to say? We already heard from Gina, right? Young Miami bits and pieces we know about. You know what I'm saying? I don't see Young Miami getting on the stand to bring Diddy down. I don't see that happening. Okay, so I don't see that happening. Make him rest in peace. I don't see Misa getting up there because she should have been the first damn person to get up on the witness stand and testify against Diddy, just his mom, because Diddy was going upside her damn head back in the day. So I'm really surprised, and I feel sorry for her because she has a walker now. They said that Misa underwent some sort of leg surgery or hip surgery, and that's the reason why you see her using a walker to walk. I know she had a slipper on yesterday. She should at least had on a sneaker, because the bottom of her foot was kind of dirty. And I don't see how in the world you could wear a slipper in New York City, child. But she had on a slipper with her leg in a cast. Her foot and leg was in a cast. And so that's the reason why she's using a walker. But I was really surprised that she didn't get on the witness stand and tell her story about how Diddy was going to her ass back in the day. You feel me? You said forget Diddy. What's Captain ever? What did it say? Faith, no love, negative energy. Anyway, like I said, there's a lot of people who Diddy laid hands on. And from what I understand, Gina is not trying to get on the witness stand. I feel like she's refusing to sit on a witness stand, even though she opened up on Tasha K and Gina spoke one-on-one with Tasha K. Thank you, mods, for getting rid of that person. My moderators are in the building. So I don't see Gina getting up on the witness stand. I don't really see Young Miami getting up on the witness stand. I don't see them two really trying to go in there for confrontation with Diddy. Um, and again, like I said, there is a certain person who was also a part of those F-offs, and this person is laying low. This person don't want nothing to do with it. This person is trying to avoid, every time people see this person out in the spotlight, this person is trying to avoid the question. So whenever this other individual is out in the spotlight and people calling this person's name out, this person is walking away. This person don't have nothing to say. This person don't even want nobody questioning them. So there is another person, a star person that's involved in this situation who can also speak up. But this person is like trying to avoid it. This person is, and I got a feeling that that person's name is going to come up because this person, they got this person on photograph. They got pictures of this person. They got tapes of this person. So they may try to force this individual in, but that individual is doing everything they can to protect their brand and their image, especially right now. You understand? Because I happen to know there's another person, and this person is definitely ducking and dodging and trying to avoid questions being asked, And I can't bring the names up. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna call no names out. You feel me? But yeah, there's a lot of names in this, you guys. There's a lot of names in this whole situation that if I wanted to really drop dimes and spill tea, I could. You feel me? I can very easily sit here and say, well, they need to call this person and this person and this person and this person, even this person and that person, because the shit is deep. The shit is deep. Diddy has a lot of connections. He really do. There's a lot of connections, okay? Um, yeah. And I'm gonna leave it at that because I can't spill too much, you guys, okay? I can't sit here and drop names. I can, but I'm not, because there's some people. There's some people that was at plenty of Diddy parties. A lot of people showed up at Diddy's parties. Diddy had a tight security staff, bodyguards, what I'm saying, that was in the building who worked for Diddy. Okay, Hmm. And whoo, child. If y'all knew, I don't even know if they're gonna bring these people names up. I don't know, because like I said, they say this is gonna be like an 8-week process. Where we at? May. From my understanding, this is supposed to go on until, like I said, July. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Right? Who the hell knows? Cause Diddy ain't saying shit. Diddy is not, I'm surprised. I'm surprised Diddy's not really spilling tea right now. Who's to know, right? And do y'all think Diddy is going to start snitching and Diddy's going to start telling who are some of the participants who showed up at these F-offs? Do y'all think Diddy's going to start snitching and telling? You know what I'm saying? I'm going to have to wait until Diddy drop dime, okay? When Diddy opens up and she is who else was a participant, then I'll get hit on and spill it. You know what I'm saying? But if Diddy ain't gonna tell it, I ain't gonna tell it. You feel me? If other people not gonna sit up here and they not gonna tell it, because I know Tisa Tells is in the courtroom, Amon Wiggins is in the courtroom. I know Jaguar didn't showed up. You understand what I'm saying? And I know Jaguar. No, Jaguar was the first person who spilled dime because everybody was saying that, yeah, Tisa's doing real good, Amon's doing real good. But let's tell the truth. Let's give credit where credit is due. The first person who sat up on that blue couch and started dropping it like it was nothing was Jaguar Wright. So Jaguar was telling the truth from day one. You know what I'm saying? She came and she confessed that Jaguar told a lot of stuff. Jaguar was, and everything Jaguar said is true, you guys. I'm gonna say that right now. If you go back and watch a couple of Jaguar Rice videos, Jaguar mentioned some names. You feel me? She came out and said some names, and some of the names that Jaguar spoke on. Let me just say that a couple of those people was involved in those f-offs. You understand what I'm saying? It's some real heavy. It's some connections. You feel me? It's a lot of it's a lot of dirt in the sauce, and I can't sit here and spill it. Because like I said, my family knows Diddy's family. My family was friends with a lot of people in the industry. You feel me? So I know a lot of people in the circles, especially when it comes to New York. And so me being born and raised, in the Bronx. I'm originally from Harlem. I was raised up in the Bronx. I was raised up in Mount Vernon. I went to school in the Bronx. You understand what I'm saying? Diddy and myself are the same age. I'm older than Diddy like about a week and 2 months. You know what I'm saying? So, I know some of everybody. I was out there once upon a time. I was hanging out. I was partying. I was clubbing. You know what I'm saying? So I know names, but I'm not going to spill it. I got to wait for other people to spill it. So I'm going to sit back and I'm just going to be quiet, and I'm just going to go with the flow, and I'm just going to watch the trial and the verdict, because I already know everything's going to come out. Everything that's coming out is no news for me. It's news for other people. It ain't news for me, but yeah, I can't wait to see who all is gonna get up on the witness stand. I'm just curious. I want to know if Diddy is gonna start snitching. I want to know if Diddy is gonna really, really start snitching. You know what I'm saying? Cause it's a lot of shit that took place in them damn freak offs. I wonder if some other names, because I would love to see it, because a lot of people got paid off. A lot of people got paid off. And Diddy paid a lot of people off. So motherfuckers that was at them after parties, they got paid off. So Diddy dished out a lot of hush money. They got paid off. So all this so-called pimping the game, a lot of people pimp themselves because they went up in there starving and hungry and thirsty, and they wanted that fame and that wealth and that money and that clout. So they went in there and they did what they wanted to do. That's why I say I don't see them throwing the book at Diddy like that, because everybody was grown. But I can't wait to see who's going to get up on the witness stand. I can't wait to see who's going to start snitching. You know what I'm saying? Because I would love to sit here and drop, but I don't need them problems. You understand? I don't need those problems, y'all, okay? Now, I will come back to do a reading for my Virgos. I hope y'all enjoyed this here. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause like this little general reading, entertainment purposes only. I'll say allegedly, okay? But I will be back to do a reading for my Virgos, because I would love to sit here and drop some names on the table. But I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna wait and see if, like I said, I'm gonna wait and see if Diddy's gonna start snitching. Yeah, I want to see who's all gonna come on the witness stand, because everybody's like, oh, Dawn dropped the mic, Orby dropped the mic. Everybody's like, yeah, they came in here and snitched on Diddy and everything Diddy did to Cassie. But Cassie should have pressed charges on Diddy's ass a long time ago when that shit first happened. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause Diddy and Cassie was only 19 when she started dating Diddy, and Diddy was already in his 30s. They were together for 10 years. Cassie will be 39. Cassie be 39 this year in August. You understand what I'm saying? Diddy is 55. He'll be 56 in November. You know. Yeah, so I don't know. Cassie had plenty of time to press charges on him, and she didn't. So it was just her really telling her story. Diddy's locked up right now. Is he looking at life? Yeah. Are they gonna get him life? No, he's not gonna get life, y'all. He might get a slap on the wrist, but it's not gonna be no life. Everybody's sitting back thinking he's gonna get life, but he's not. He's not. Not gonna happen, y'all. But I can't wait to see who's all gonna get on the witness stand. And right now, I'm tired of hearing about Diddy and Cassie. You understand what I'm saying? I want to see what else they got. You know what I'm saying? Because I already know what happened to Cassie. You know what I'm saying? Let's start talking about kind of tired of hearing about the freak offs too. But if they're gonna talk about the freak offs, at least talk about who the hell all the participant was. You know what I'm saying? So I could talk about it. Because I can't talk about it till they talk about it, right? So I got to be quiet right now. But if they gonna, if they gonna start talking about the after party and who participated and what, then shit, that's what I'm waiting on, y'all. I'm waiting to hear the participants because I know some names and I can't talk about it. So I'm waiting to see if Diddy's gonna snitch on it. I'm waiting to see who's all gonna snitch, okay? And until then, I'm just gonna be quiet. Shit. If they not gonna talk about it, I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm just gonna sit back. All right, y'all. I'm gonna sit back. I'm not. I can't tell shit. I gotta wait for somebody to snitch. I know Jaguar Wright. She did mention a few names of people. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Jaguar Wright. You feel me? So if y'all want to know who a few of them people was that was in them little f offs, y'all might want to go back and look at some of Jaguar Wright's videos, or some of her old videos, because she dropped some names, and I can't. But just know that some of those names that she talked about, they was in them damn freak offs and they got their asses on tape. Okay. So even I can sit here and say allegedly, but that's a damn fact. All right. That's a damn fact. Okay. Yeah. Because at least one or two of them people was even forced to be involved with Cassie, who performed with Cassie. Okay. Yeah. But I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna be quiet, child. I'm gonna be quiet, right? Because I can't tell but so much, y'all. All right. So I hope y'all enjoyed this. I'm gonna leave it be for right now, and I'm just gonna be watching like y'all are watching. Because I can't wait to see who's gonna snitch. Okay, it ain't gonna be me. I ain't gonna tell shit. Now, if Diddy drops some shit, now if Diddy opens up his mouth and he starts telling on people, then I will open up my mouth and I'll be like, yup, 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 yup. You know what I'm saying? But I can't do that right now. So I gotta wait. I gotta wait. I can't say shit. So, but I feel like I'll be sure. I know I'll be sure is gonna get on a witness stand, right? But if Al gets on that witness stand, is his son Quincy gonna get on a witness stand? Is Diddy's other son King Kong? Is he gonna get on a witness stand? Who knows? But I don't see them going against Diddy like that, because Diddy got that money, and that's what his, mm, mm, mm. I don't know, y'all. But like I said, I gotta wait for somebody to start snitching so I can snitch. I can't say shit right now. I gotta wait for them to drop a dime. I need a little bit of leeway. I can't open up and tell y'all everything I know. So I gotta wait. I gotta wait and see who's gonna be the first person to get on a witness stand, and then I could be like, oh hell yeah. Then I could sit here and tell y'all. I could be like, yep, right now I gotta shut up. So I'm gonna sit back and I'm just gonna go with the flow. All right, y'all. So I hope y'all enjoyed this. Hope y'all enjoyed this. Anyway, Virgos, I will be back to give y'all a reading. All right. So with that being said, one love, you guys. I am out.